What is up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Talk to Me here on notfest.com. If you're listening on podcast or a Notfest VIP, you will check out an interview with Mike Haranica of The Devil Wears Prada. And as always, my co-host, Chris Akin. Chris, how we doing?
I'm not wearing Prada. Just so you know, I'm not.
Well, you are the devil, though.
That is right. The devil wears maiden.
There we go. Devil Wears Prada new album, The Color Decay, out 9/16 on Solid State Records, and Mike is a returning guest. Always great to catch up with Mike Haranica of The Devil Wears Prada.
Cool.
But let's dive into some news of the week, man. The gift that keeps on giving is this Pantera reunion tour.
Yeah, and, boy, everybody got an opinion.
Everyone has an opinion. And one of the coolest names in metal, no matter what you think of his band, Zoltan Bathory of Five Finger Death Punch, has kind of came out and said that Pantera is going to be, this is a cover band. And because of, not having very many original members.
Okay. Well, I mean, kind of is. Yeah, does it matter anymore? Dude, in today's world, does it matter?
Right.
How many bands are out there with 1 or 0 members?
Well, that's what I was going to... My point is Five Finger Death Punch only has 2 original members.
Yeah, and how many guys they got in their band? 5?
5. So, I mean, they're technically 2/5, and it's 1/2 of Pantera, which is more Pantera than Five Finger Death Punch originals.
I don't know why everybody's so... Well, I guess I do, because it's something to yap about, but... at this point, who gives a shit? I agree with Charlie Benante. If you want to go, go. If you don't, don't. Stay home. Fuck off. Right. It should be that. It really should be that simple. To me, I mean, dude, you've seen a Pantera tribute band or two, haven't you?
I've seen one. Yeah.
Okay. If they're really good, you'll go see it again, right?
Yeah, they were great. Like they were absolutely great.
Right. And if your choice was to not see anything or see that tribute band, what would you do?
I would go see the tribute band.
There you go. That's the whole point. So if Anselmo, I mean, look, even if you don't want to call it Pantera, and I get it, there's the purists out there that don't want to call it Pantera, but let's just call it the way it is. If you want to see Phil, and you want to see Rex, and you want to see Charlie, and you want to see Zach, and you want to hear those songs sounding fucking great, you're going.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't, then guess what? You'll be on YouTube or on Facebook or whatever saying, I'm glad I stayed home, man. Those guys are dicks that spent $200 a ticket. What a bunch of posers. That's what it'll be.
Yeah, it's a mess, man. Bathory discussed his views on the Pantera comeback in a new interview with Meltdown of Detroit's WRIF radio station. I guess WRIF. What a cool name there. And as I turn my phone off because I'm a very professional journalist.
That's right.
Asked what he thinks about Anselmo and Brown touring under the Pantera name. Zoltan said in part, well, here's the thing. It's going to be a Pantera cover band. Really, if you think about it, even though there are previous members involved, the fans would want to hear that. Otherwise, it wouldn't be happening. So
he's not wrong, but so what? The real question is, why is he answering this question? Why isn't he saying, look, dude, I got my own record to promote. I got my own tour to promote.
Yeah.
I got a big country star to go out on tour with here. I can't be bothered with the comings and goings of Pantera.
Right. He's saying, look at it this way. This is an homage. This is paying respect to that music. This is paying respect to the band that was very influential for many, many people. If you approach it from that perspective, then yeah, these are the right guys. Who else would play guitar, for example? And then he says, so I don't know. I don't have an opinion, really.
So here, I'll do the translation. You ready?
Go ahead.
Not a Pantera fan. So really doesn't give a shit about the question.
Well, he says he was very influenced by Pantera and he will go see this. So,
all right. But he's going to as a cover band. He just, he's trying really hard to walk that line, but still keep his edge because he's in Five Finger Death Punch. That's really what it sounds like he's doing. He's trying to be edgy, but not really say anything at the same time. You know, it's like, all right, whatever, pick a side, dickhead.
This is for the day when he disbands Five Finger Death Punch, and Ivan Moody wants to start his own Five Finger Death Punch, so he can be like, "Hey, I was against Pantera getting back together, and I'm against this too." Like,
well, dude, if that band ever breaks up, couldn't you just name it Four Finger Death Punch?
Oh,
just get rid of one. Keep going. You got 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, right. Well, right now they're a Two Finger Death Punch.
Yeah, two finger Death Punch. Peace sign Death Punch.
Peace sign Death Punch. Good Lord. Five Finger Death Punch is going on tour with country star Brantley Gilbert.
Now, you said you looked him up.
Yeah, I did.
What do we got?
Kind of the bro country stuff. It's kind of funny. The first song that pops up is Brantley Gilbert featuring Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll, friend of the podcast. So I can't. I was expecting to come into this super hating it, and I was like, well, I can't really hate on it because it's the line between country and rock and rap is just so skewed right now. Like when I had Trey from the Devil's Cut on a couple weeks ago at the live show. I mean, that was his whole thing. He was talking about doing kind of like adding some country elements into rock and kind of almost not necessarily creating a new sound, but a different sound or a different take on it. And you and I talk about that all the time. I mean, you got Bloodywood over there doing their take on metal, and you've got, you know, these guys in Kentucky and Tennessee doing their takes on metal, adding in, you know, country artist stuff. So didn't hate it, but it's definitely not something I'm, you know, clamoring to get to. I guess it would be better than them touring with like Jason Aldean or something.
Yeah, it's turning into a thing though, because I know I just interviewed for my other deal. I interviewed this guy Rick Monroe from Rick Monroe and the Hitmen. Okay, and he's a country guy, like a real country guy,
right?
And he's going out on tour with Ted Nugent.
Oh wow!
So it's like, you know, I guess there's something to this, that it's a thing right now, that it's sort of happening, that more hard rock and metal bands are working with country bands, but
right.
All right, so what do we got coming up next? Jason Aldean and Metallica? Is that coming soon?
Coming soon. I will say from the business side, and this is where I understand what they're doing, because the first time I ever saw Five Finger Death Punch, friends of the show, friends of the podcast know that, you know, Chris Cale and I go back to the 90s, like friendship wise and things like that. So when I heard he joined Five Finger Death Punch, I thought that they were like a big theater band. Like they were going to play the Agora or something, you know, something that holds 1,200, 2,000 people. Sure. And then the first time I see them, they're playing the Ford Center in Evansville, Indiana, which is like the arena there. And I was like, Jesus Christ. But they were playing, it was called the Trespass America Tour. And it's been a while, so it's going to take a second. It was Five Finger Death Punch, Killswitch Engage, Trivium, God Forbid.
Nice.
I think like Battle Cross, like, you know, just a metal Emure was on that. I mean, it was a metal day, right?
Sure.
And the arena was not well attended. It was very, you know, people are scattered all over the place. It was a decent sized crowd, but it wasn't crazy.
Right.
So in the year since then, I saw them at the arena here in Louisville with Shinedown, sold out to the gills. Right. I saw them in Indianapolis with Breaking Benjamin. Radio, and what I'm getting at, Shinedown, big radio band, Breaking Benjamin, big radio band. And I think what they're doing, I think they're just doing these co-headlining packages.
Sure.
That you know, will bring in different elements. Five Finger Death Punch is going to get the radio rock, the heavier guys, and then Shinedown, Breaking Benjamin are bringing in all the other, you know, the soccer moms and whatever else they bring in. And then now you've kind of they're trying something different with this arena tour. Still doing arenas, but they bring in Brantley Gilbert, and he's going to bring in an entirely new audience. And in all reality, Five Finger Death Punch fans and Brantley Gilbert fans are probably the same person. If you really want to think about it.
It probably, and Five Finger, you know, the covers that they do anyway will appeal to probably a country audience. I mean, I know the Bad Company cover will.
Right. I mean, they did Blue on Black with, you know, the Kenny Wayne Shepherd song.
Yeah. So yeah, they probably get enough of a crossover. It's just weird. We're in a different world, man. I can remember a day when if a band didn't exactly match, you just skip the opener. You know, you're just like, nah, I'm not going to go watch that. I'll wait. different era, man.
The song Afterlife off of the upcoming album is the band's 13th number one an 8th entry on the chart in a row, #1 mainstream rock airplay chart on Billboard.
Jesus Christ. Who would have thought that would be the band that just became like the dominant band?
Yeah.
I never would have thought that.
Yeah, I mean, just like I said, when Chris Cale joined the band, I was just like, all right, that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
I thought, because he had kind of cryptically posted that he was joining a band, and it's funny, I thought he was joining Chimera. Like, I just assumed it, because that was around the time that they were going through members all the time.
Right.
Sure. And I was like, and Chris is friendly with Mark and kind of the same area of the country and all that stuff. And I was like, man, Chris is about to join Chimera. That's going to be awesome. He's like, 5 Finger Death Punch. And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah. But the first time I ever saw him live was at an arena tour. But they do what they do, man. And they they're obviously taking on a country guy, and they showed you years ago that maybe the full on metal tour didn't work as well. But they are taking out Megadeth for multiple runs. And that, I mean, I know that rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but 5 Finger Death Punch is in arenas and Megadeth is not.
Yeah, dude, I love it when the bands that get shit on all the time succeed anyway. That nothing makes me happier than seeing that 5 Finger, even Nickelback. Yeah. I love the fact that Nickelback, they get shit on constantly, which to me, for no reason, but they get shit on absolutely constantly. And they, both middle fingers in the air. They're like, fuck you. We're going to keep on selling out arenas. We're going to keep making up millions of dollars, and you're going to keep complaining. I love it.
Yeah. That's like when everybody says, like, where are these, the Nickelback comes to town and the place is sold out.
Yeah.
But I don't know many Nickelback fans. That's the thing. You don't know where they are.
Yeah. Nobody wants to admit it. That's really what it comes to with Nickelback. There's certain bands that nobody wants to admit that they're fans of. Kid Rock, another one.
Right.
No one wants to admit that they're a Kid Rock fan, but every fucking show he plays sells out 18, 19, 20,000 people. They're out there. Same with 5 Finger Death. I mean, really, even 5 Finger. How many people that do not have a vagina do you know that will say, yeah, 5 Finger, they rule?
People walking around. My cousin's a big 5 Finger Death Punch fan. That instantly made me cool in the Toomey family tree when I had a friend in 5 Finger Death Punch.
Right. Nice.
Too funny. Let's dive into this Dino Cazares on keeping the new Fear Factory singer identity a secret. He says, I just want this to be amazing.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be. You know how it will be amazing? If the big reveal is Burton C. Bell.
Right.
That's the only way it will be amazing.
How awesome would that be?
That would be great.
In a turn of events, Burton has come back to the band.
We never really broke up. We just put that story out there for 10 years.
They never really broke up. They just stirred the pot for a while, and it actually will be Burton C. Bell.
That would be great.
Let's see here. In a new interview with This Day in Metal, a lot of people online are asking me about Fear Factory. When the fuck are you going to release a song? When are you going to announce a singer? Blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I'm like, look, I'm just taking my time, and I want this to be right. I'm taking my time, and it's going to be fucking amazing. People want me to rush things right away, and I just don't want to rush things. Just fucking tell us who the singer is, you fuck. Everybody's just yelling at me, telling me things like that. And I'm like, just be patient. Just be patient.
All right. Who in the world could it be where you'd be like, okay, that's amazing?
Howard Jones.
Yeah, maybe, but I doubt it. And that would only be you saying it's amazing.
No, that's
let me rephrase. That everybody would say it's amazing.
Corey Taylor.
That would be, I mean, you got to go to that level. James Hetfield.
Right.
Jonathan Davis. That's about where you got to go to. It's not going to be super amazing when it's, Tommy Vexed. No, it's not going to be. I love Tommy, but that's not going to be amazing.
Yeah. It's kind of strange that we found out who the singer of Divine Heresy is before we find out who the singer of Fear Factory is.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, he also talked about the Once Humans, Lauren Hart, who originally auditioned for Fear Factory, but he has recruited her to his Divine Heresy project. Do you think that Dino is out with Max, and Max is just like, well, this is what I'm making Soulfly, this is what I'm making Cavalera, this is what I'm making Max and Friends, and Dino's just going to turn into I've got, the Dino Cazares band, Divine Heresy, Fear Factory, and just consistently on tour.
Here's the only difference. Dino has not proven to stay out on tour like that.
True.
The reason Max can do that is because he does keep them all working. All members of all bands are always working because he's never not on tour. Dino, I mean, when is the last time you remember Dino doing 6 straight months of touring?
I wouldn't say ever.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I can't see him doing a Fear Factory run and then bogging right down into a Divine Heresy run and then, I don't know, joining Static X and doing a run with them or something. I mean, I don't know. I just can't see it.
This past February, former Night Rage singer Anthony so-and-so,
Blah, blah, blah.
who unsuccessfully auditioned for the vocalist spot in Fear Factory, claimed in an interview that the new Fear Factory frontman is, quote, a person from Italy.
Oh, good. So who would that be? Fabio Leone?
Is that the guy from Frontiers Records?
Rhapsody on Fire.
It's just going to be every dude from Frontiers Records is coming out to be on the band.
Yeah, that'll be it. Alessandro Del Vecchio. He's now the singer.
There we go. Oh man, I'm excited to see who it is. I giant Fear Factory fan. Love every time Dino's on the show. So I'm interested. I'm not going to say I'm excited. I'm interested, and if he proves me wrong, I'll come right back here and say, "Yep, he got me." But I think too that it's just this build up to like it. At some point, you just need to throw out a song, or just even if you're not going to tour with Fear Factory until next year, just keep releasing singles and keep us excited about this new singer. Because if it comes out next year that it's just some dude, and then you hear him and it's just okay, this is like not a good sign.
I think he's already waited too long.
Yeah,
that album's been out. People are already done with it. They're already past it. Yeah. And we still don't know who the singer is. And it's not going to come back with the new singer.
Right.
Because people aren't going to want to, people's first taste of the new band is not going to be the new record. They want to hear, how's this guy sound doing Replica? How's this guy sound doing Lynchpin? How's this guy sound doing, I don't know, even Cars or Obsolete or something like that,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he's blowing it, but the only thing so far, and I mean, it could go either way, but I'm glad that he didn't put Lauren Hart as the singer.
Right.
You got to go with a dude. And I hate to be sexist guy, but you got to go with a dude. It's just, or it better be an amazing. Now you want to blow my mind, make it be Alyssa from, from Arch Enemy. That would rule. But I don't think she's got the vocal chops to do it.
I think the hard part on this too is Aggression Continuum is so good. Like it is an incredible record. So if this album would have tanked and then you're like, all right, we're going to do a new guy now. Yeah. That's one thing. But the latest Fear Factory album featuring Burton C. Bell on vocals that they didn't get to tour at all is a banger from start to finish.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know what he's going to do. I hope that he's right and he's not just blowing smoke like musicians tend to do.
Right.
But I don't know. At this point, I'm starting to think that he's blowing smoke because what is the purpose of holding on to it? And I want it to be special. Well, how is September 1st any more special than right now?
How is
October 1st or whatever? How is any of it more special?
So reunited Pantera with this version of Fear Factory going out. Are you excited for that?
I'll go to see Pantera.
Right.
I mean, this is another one. What is Zoltan calling this Fear Factory? That's clearly a tribute band, right?
Yeah, this is definitely tribute band territory. The whole Fear Factory saga is just a mess. So with like Burton owning the name and then Burton filing bankruptcy and then Dino going to court, securing the name rights and just it's just a damn mess, man.
Yeah, it's ugly. It is the ugly side of being a moderately successful band.
Yeah.
They just didn't have enough success to eliminate any of these problems. So they're big enough that everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Not big enough to do anything about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, back in the, I remember being a giant Fear Factory fan. At the same time, I was listening to Deftones and Korn and all the new metal stuff. But like the guys that I knew that were super into the new metal stuff didn't really latch on to Fear Factory. They were almost too heavy for them. Like, but I loved all the heavy stuff growing up, and then I got into new metal. So they kind of fit all those boxes for me. But yeah, I wish they would have been bigger, but man, some people just get into Burton's voice, I think.
Yeah, you had to really be into, at least for me, I was such a Roadrunner guy at that point. Yeah. I really didn't give a shit who it was. If it said Roadrunner on it, I was going to give it a good listen. And I just remember it came out, it came out in between Sepultura records and, what you call Typo Negative was right about that time. First Machine Head was about that time. I mean, they were all right in that wheelhouse. I was like, God damn, Roadrunner is killing it.
Speaking of Pantera, once again, another friend of the show, friend of the program, Phil Anselmo on Lemmy. He's forever, and I love him.
All right, fair enough. Me too. How's that?
Yeah, Banger TV a while back posted a clip of I guess they did Ace of Spades with a bunch of guests on it. Gary Holt, Chuck Garrick, people from Queens of the Stone Age and Intronauts and Howling Giant and Integrity. I mean, it was a fun cover, very fun. Multiple guitarists, multiple bass players. Anselmo singing sounded pretty good. But yeah, I mean, basically his quote here is, the first thing that attracted me to Motorhead was Lemmy Kilmister and the sound of his voice. And then it was solidified in 1985. I went to a show outside of New Orleans, and it was Agnostic Fronts and Motorhead. It was a great wall of crushing sound. They were just incredible. They sounded great. Lemmy was so long-lasting and impressionable. Man on me, he's forever, and I love him.
Yeah, I agree with him, dude. I mean, you never saw Motorhead, did you?
Mm-mm.
Dude,
never got to see him.
When you saw Motorhead, I don't care what you did, how far away you stood from the stage, if you wore earplugs, whatever. It was crushingly loud.
Yeah.
Like nothing I've ever. I mean, first of all, they would put a stadium's worth of amps into a club.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was just literally it would hurt. It would hurt. And I mean, they just came out and it was just an hour and a half of punch to the face metal. It was just brutal, but it was great. And I'm a huge fan of Lemmy, and I hate that he died, but I love that the legacy has carried on and that people are absolutely refusing to let the legacy die.
Yeah.
Because they kind of have with a lot of these other guys that have passed away, even Dio, other than his wife, pouring out phone messages or whatever for calling them albums. I mean, nobody's really talking about Dio anymore.
Right.
I mean, he was, pretty legendary guy. And like Peter Steele. Last time you heard anybody talking about Peter Steele.
Yeah, it's very few and far between. It's funny because like on the anniversary of Peter Steele's death every year, like you'll get some recycled Kerrang articles and things like that. And people will kind of come out and make some quotes, and I'll post my picture of me and Peter Steele on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, you don't get a ton of, I don't really feel like you get a ton of bands coming out today saying, man, I grew up loving Typo Negative. Like they're not really, ingrained in people like that.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Lemmy, it's been 6-7 years since Lemmy passed away, and they're building statues for the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still promoting Lemmy.
Yeah, you definitely see that. There's giant statues at what was that, like Hellfest or whatever?
Yeah, one of them fests, right?
Yeah. Those
and
giant
there's the big statue at the Rainbow too.
Yeah, where people taking photos all the time.
Yeah. I mean, he's bigger than life, and
yeah.
I know his importance to me. I've written 6 books, and they all, the forward in all 6 of the books, I always thank my dad, my grandfather, and Lemmy. Right. Those are my traditional thank yous, because I kind of live that don't give a fuck attitude the same as Lemmy did. And he's kind of the guy that showed me how to do that. So cool stuff. His phone number's still in my phone. That's the coolest part ever.
I wonder who has it now. You should call it and be like, hey,
what's up? Let's see.
What do you...
The phone message probably says, yeah, this is not Lemmy.
Not Lemmy. He's dead.
Yeah, like the 867-5309 phone numbers. You ever call those?
No. And
when you call them, almost every one of them has a voicemail, and it all starts off with, this is not Jenny.
Please lose this number.
Yeah, stop it. It's not funny anymore.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of deaths,
yeah.
Let's talk about Steve Grimmett of Grim Reaper, dead at 62, man.
Yeah, that sucks. He's, it's one of them things. I think everybody puts their weight of their metalldom, their metal card holderness,
right,
on how many kind of obscure bands they know, and I think Grim Reaper is one of those bands. They're never huge.
Yeah.
They were definitely underground, but everybody knows See You in Hell. Everybody just sort of knows that song.
Right.
For whatever reason, because I don't know where we all know it from. I don't even remember it on like MTV or anything, but we all know that song. See you in hell, my friend. We all know it. And yet, I mean, you saw, when he died the other day, every band singer that I could think of had a picture of them with Steve Grimmett on it.
Right.
Yeah, in their timeline. Like, I only met him once, and I interviewed him one other time. Could not have been a nicer dude, but I'm not even pretending that I knew the guy.
Right.
I mean, I literally met him once, and hey, man, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Oh, thanks for coming to the show. And move along. That was
right.
That was kind of the meeting. And then when I interviewed him, he had a band at one point called Grimstone.
Okay.
And I interviewed him for the Grimstone project, and couldn't have been nicer. I mean, he was really a nice dude, and he's one of those guys that I think maybe the guy was a bigger personality than the music that he created.
I can see that.
But yeah, for those that were Grim Reaper fans, sorry for your loss. He's obviously a big enough name.
Well, it's funny. I do remember this video from MTV as a kid, and I don't know why, but I remember seeing it like this as one of the first videos I can remember.
Right. Because was it on Beavis and Butthead?
No, I mean like when I was, this was probably in the late 80s. Like I can remember seeing it, and it didn't scare me, but it's definitely one of those like, ooh, see you in hell, hey,
language.
I'm 7, 8 years old, like
right.
Kind of like get a little tingling. I'm like, I like this. Right. This is metal.
Looking around, making sure your mom's not in the room. Ooh, he said the H word. Ooh.
And as a person who loves that, puns and talk to me as your name and stuff.
Yeah.
What a perfect name to start a band. I mean, if your name is Steve Grimmett,
yeah,
you get to be Grim Reaper.
Right.
But I think there are a lot of those bands, and then I'm not taking anything away from the music and whatnot, but I think there are a lot of these bands that got these good names early on.
Sure.
That kind of live off of that, like a Grim Reaper. I mean,
sure.
if you got to Grim Reaper first and got to use that band name,
yeah,
you kind of get to keep going. Like that band, like the band Satan, like that band's still going. And the other thing I like about Steve, and I've seen him over the years, and a lot of these dudes that they're up there in age at 62 and whatnot. Steve was missing a leg.
Yeah,
he was still out there touring, but. And you've got, dudes like, in wheelchairs, and just even the guy from, what is that, Forbidden? Is that the one with or is it Possessed?
Possessed. Jeff Becerra.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously his was more from a robbery, but just the fact that they're still out there doing it, right. I don't know if it's a financial thing, if they have to keep doing it, or if it's a love thing, which hopefully it's, they're doing it because they want to get out there and keep going, because I don't know, man, if I lost a leg or was wheelchair bound and all that stuff, I mean, would I still get on stage,
Right. Yeah. No, it's I mean, you got to give it to them. Balls for miles, to get out there with one leg and do it with one leg. That's pretty ballsy there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely not metal out there on a missing your leg and and all
Or maybe
that
it's
stuff.
more metal. Maybe
Might
that's
be.
more metal because he's got a metal leg.
Maybe I'll cut my leg off.
No, maybe that's what
how
you're
I make
missing. Yeah, that's what you've been missing the whole time.
Too funny, man.
Just start eating cookies. It'll go away.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. There's some of these like just just the just all of our heroes and their bad health.
Uh-huh.
I'm waiting for the day that we see Jonathan Davis rolling out there in a wheelchair, Chino fucking, rolling out in a wheelchair, having to do these songs.
No, and yet pieces of shit like Vince Neil continue to fucking thrive.
Hey, Vince is one cookie away from losing a leg. He's probably already missed a couple of toes.
Yeah, probably. Probably just don't know. Wide-toed boots.
Speaking of our heroes aging,
Yes.
Tony Iommi and Ozzy recently performed at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. They did a truncated version of Iron Man and the classic song Paranoid.
Yeah. How about that? Ozzy fresh from life-saving surgery or whatever. And he's back out there. Boy, Sharon just wheels him up to the stage. Is like, get your ass out there, make me some money, bitch.
Yeah, so I'm watching the performance, and they've got Ozzy like on his own riser, and I'm just the whole time I'm just fearing Ozzy's just gonna break a hip.
Dude, I swear to you, he was hooked to that thing. It looked like he had like I don't know, like some kind of a thing around his back.
Yeah.
It would shock me none if he had like a bungee cord or something that was holding him there so he couldn't fall down.
Under the coat?
Yeah. Something, or a big stick or something, like a scarecrow or something, like up through the pants just to hold him up. Because, I mean, he didn't move at all. Right. You got to admit, he just was as, Mr. Jumping around like a frog was very still.
Oh yeah, and he definitely didn't do any of that, of the normal Ozzy. He tried to do, Ozzy's going to do his everybody clap your hands and all that stuff. He's going to do it.
Yeah.
But
he didn't fall. He sounded okay. If it wasn't tracks, he sounded fine. And if it was tracks, it sounded fine. But and then Tony Iommi sounds like Tony Iommi. He's never
Tony's awesome. He looked great, he sounded great. The other part that I didn't even think about it, but they were asking about Geezer Butler's absence.
Yeah.
Tony said, and listen to all of these different things that may or may not have contributed to Geezer not being there. I don't think he wanted to come over as he hadn't been well with COVID. 1. He had been on holiday to Kenya, 2, and to Italy, 3, and had an accident on a boat cracking or breaking a rib about 3 weeks ago.
Jesus.
4. So he was not quite in fine fettle to come over to play. It's a shame because we had talked for a long time about the possibility of playing at the Commonwealth Games. Like, how many different excuses were in there?
Why don't they just say he's retired? I think that's what he said. Isn't that what I mean? Not necessarily about this particular performance, but he pretty much said, I don't know, month and a half ago, he said he's retired. He doesn't want to do it anymore. He's done.
What was that band he tried there for a minute?
Dead Wasteland, something. What This Present Wasteland or something? Something Wasteland.
Yeah, that
Dead
sounds
Wasteland. Something Wasteland.
I saw them a couple of years ago at Louder Than Life. They they played during the day. And I'm just like, that's Geezer Butler and like Matt Sorum and like, it was like a who's who on stage, and they played like the third stage, which is like far away from the main stages. And I'm just like, wow, that's just Geezer just up there just jamming. But yeah, he good band, but maybe he just guess he's just not into it.
Yeah, he's not in. I can't remember the name of that fucking band, but and the weird thing is I interviewed Paul Fig who did the production on that thing.
Right.
And he said that that all they recorded was an EP, but it's really good. And it's never going to come out. It's one of those things that we're never going to hear because they just didn't want to put it together and put it out. So yeah, I can't find the name of it.
Deadland Ritual.
Deadland Ritual. Okay. I don't know where I'm coming up with Wasteland, but
close enough.
Whatever. Deadland, Wasteland.
Yeah. Steve Stevens was in it.
Yeah. Sound like a good band.
Yeah, and they were good live. But yeah, like I said, I mean, they played at like 3:00 in the afternoon, something bizarre. But yeah,
it's crazy.
But and the other thing, a lot of people are saying that they think Ozzy was singing the tracks, and I don't think he was singing the tracks. I mean, I think his voice was just enough real to sound. No. The only thing people did say that there were a few times where he kind of did the everybody raise your hands or whatnot, and it wasn't coming through the mic.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the big part. Where it kind of said people think that maybe he was singing the tracks, but I thought he sang well. So.
You know what? Ozzy's 140 years old, fresh off of back surgery. Cut him a little slack. Jesus.
Right. I mean, if he was singing the tracks, I mean, normally at these, Super Bowl, Commonwealth games, big things like that anyway, people are singing the tracks anyway.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So who cares? Now if he was a 22-year-old and he was singing the tracks, I might have more of an issue, but he's ancient Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, when did he have surgery? It was not even that long ago. Like 2 months.
Wasn't
it in July?
I
I thought it was in July.
I don't think it says in here.
Yeah. I know it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't like February.
Yeah.
It's fairly recent. And look, I've had surgery before. You ain't getting me out a month and a half later to be out in front of 100 million people singing. Nope.
Yeah. I was surprised to see it happen, but I mean, as the whole spectacle of the fireworks going off and seeing Tony and Ozzy on stage together, I was 100% on board.
Yeah, it looked cool. It definitely looked cool, and hey, good on them. Good on them getting out there and doing it.
Quickly, we will give out our T's and P's to James Hetfield of Metallica, who is getting a divorce after 25 years of marriage to was it Francesca Hetfield?
Yeah, Francesca Hetfield. Well, I don't know. We got to give that many thoughts and prayers to the man because it happened after the success, the marriage.
Yeah.
So the way Q Prime is, and I've dealt with Q Prime, and I'm pretty sure you have as well.
I have, yeah.
I don't think that the management would have let him get sucked into something without an ironclad prenup.
Right.
He ain't going to lose half of his money. He's going to lose $15 million or something, but he's not going to lose $150 million or whatever. Just no way on that. I have to think that the management in 1990, what would that have been, 6 or 7 or whatever?
I believe 97, yeah.
Took care of him. I have to believe that. So I don't think he's going to get screwed too bad, but divorce always blows. Maybe that's why he was crying on stage. He was already broke up with her and just like a mess. So could be.
Do you think this makes because the 50 gigs a year thing is kind of from Hetfield and his sobriety. So do you think that does Metallica tour more? Does Metallica tour less? Do you think that, hopefully he stays, clean or whatnot if he needs that?
Well, I'm not hoping for that personally, but I'm hoping he starts drinking and writes better music and plays better shows. But he was a much better performer as a drunk. Sorry that's not politically correct, but it is the truth. And anybody that's an old school Metallica fan will agree with me there. Drunk James was awesome. Hey, friends, James, not as awesome. Just not.
I will push back on you thinking that the Hey Friends James is new, because I mean, even if you go back to Cliff Lamall when he's like, everybody say hi, Cliff, how you doing? And he's like, that's almost the same voice you're using, and that's
okay.
A puppet store.
But when you went to those shows, you didn't dare sit down. If you were the one guy in section 525 sitting down and Hetfield saw you, he would stop the show to point you out. He'd be like, hey, you bitch, get up. You had to part. It wasn't a performance like it is now. Now it's a performance. Back then it was the crowd and Metallica, and it was all one monstrous explosion of energy. I've seen Metallica 40 some odd times at this point. I mean, I've seen them more than any other band I've ever seen. And this version, I saw them on this tour, on the Hardwired tour.
Yeah.
And what they're doing right now is not what they were doing in the 90s and 2000s even. And I know they can't, it's It's a big difference between being 30 years old and 50 years old. I get it. But, hey, we got a 9-year-old here in the crowd. Look at that. Come up on stage, kid.
Come on, everybody.
There's a difference between Metallica and Talica. Once they started with the Talica bullshit is also when they started with the, hey, friends, we got the Metallica family here tonight. Let's get together and kumbaya together. And I don't know. I mean, they're still good. I mean, it's not terrible. It's
right.
I mean, we've seen some terrible bands, and Metallica's not one of them, but they're just not as good as when they were the best band ever. So,
one more story before we dive into some TV and movies and all that other fun stuff. Yeah. This just came through. David Ellefson on getting fired from Megadeth over the sex video scandal. I'm sad that things went down the way they did. Bory, once again, sexual innuendo title.
Right.
In a new interview with the Mike Nelson Show.
Oh, the Mike Nelson Show. I get all those episodes.
David Ellefson was asked if it was fair to say Dave Mustaine ran the show in Megadeth since the bassist rejoined the band in 2010, and that he and the other members of Megadeth were treated and paid merely as session members prior to his dismissal from the group more than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
He responded pretty much.
He said, yes.
He said, the tour ended. There was no retainer. There was no salary. We went off and did our own thing, which is why, to be honest with you, it's why I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always known music to be entrepreneurial. I started a coffee company, did a label, had other things, wrote with other people, did other records, wrote books. And that's what it is. And I know that's not well liked by some people because they kind of want it, quote unquote, all in. And it's like, well, royalties buy loyalties.
Wow. There you go.
If you want everyone here all the time, you've got to have them on a retainer and a salary, and you've got to treat them like a staff member so that they're 100% in your team. And that wasn't that. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was pretty clear to me when the train stops, we all get off, and that when we kind of go on our separate ways until it's time to come back together and be Megadeth again, whether that was recording or touring or otherwise. So there you go.
Yeah. So he's right. And Mustaine is still a bitch for not taking care of his guy. It's that simple. Mustaine should have taken care of his guy. Didn't have to necessarily work with him going forward, but should have had his back.
Yeah.
Instead of we're going to assess things with management. And then a week later, he's out. It's like, dude, sack up, step up for your guy. He's been your guy for 40 fucking years.
I don't think a single Megadeth fan would have, given a crap if they would have kept Dave Ellefson in the band.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, it would have just, it would have just continued on. The train would have kept rolling. Nobody's worrying about that. These guys were fucking heroin addicts, for God's sakes. And you're worried about the guy fucking jerking off on his phone? Stop it.
I agree, man. Another new Megadeth track out. And once again, pretty good. I don't know how I feel about the little, army chant at the end. I don't know if you caught that or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little silly, but other than that, man, what another great song.
Yeah, I'm begrudgingly looking forward to this record. I don't want to support it because I'm definitely camp Ellefson, but
right.
But man, the 3 songs have been pretty fucking good.
Yes, they have. Did you say you had a Metallica story?
Yeah, just real quick. You're gonna love this. So
okay,
for the first time that Metallica's played anywhere near me, I did not go see Metallica. They were in Pittsburgh on Sunday.
Right.
And so they played their show at Pittsburgh. I heard it was really good. And they finished their show. Now my partner Ed that I do pinball PA with, he hangs out at a hotel bar on Sunday nights. I guess I don't know, he's dating one of the waitresses or meets her or whatever. I don't know why he's there. But in normal circumstances, I would have been at the hotel
Right.
You know, I would have seen the show and then I'd have gone to meet Ed for a couple of drinks and I would have stayed over and drove home Monday. Don't you know, he's in the hotel bar, and who comes in the bar after the show but Metallica? So Metallica comes into the bar. My friend Ed, he has his dog with him. Don't ask me. I don't know. You know, I'm not a dog guy, but he has his dog with him. Hetfield gives him a handful of picks to pet the dog.
It's Metallica currency.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's awesome.
Here it is, me. I've seen the band 40 however many times.
Yeah.
And here's my friend that doesn't even like Metallica, and he runs into him in this totally chance meeting. So you never know, I guess.
You should have went to the show, man.
I guess I should have. I would have ended up schmoozing with Metallica for a minute.
You could have got him on the podcast.
Yeah, sure. Sure. I'm sure he'd be like, oh, yeah, let's set up and do it right now.
Hey, wouldn't be any worse than Joe Rogan and him talking about bees.
That's true. That is true.
Let's get into some reviews, recommendations. What's going on in the Chris Akin world these days?
All right. The positives.
Okay.
The Arch Enemy album, Watchers.
Okay.
That album smokes. Excellent, excellent, excellent release. I super, super recommend it to everybody. I would recommend the movie Predators, which I had not seen. It's not the new one.
Right, I was about to say.
It's from like 2010 or something, but it has like Lawrence Fishburne in it and Adrian Brody and somebody else famous.
Okay.
Really pretty good. I was surprised. I don't remember this movie at all, but it was kick-ass. The negative, the new one. And I know I'm in the minority on this because it's getting praised everywhere. But I hated this movie, PREY, from the Predator series.
It's funny you say that, man, because every single post I see about that is glowing.
Positive.
Like, yeah. I didn't even know that many people liked the Predator franchise, and people are just freaking out about PREY. I have not watched it.
People are loving it. I don't get it. It's, you know, it's set back in the Cowboys and Indians days, I guess.
Right.
And to me, it just seemed dumb. It was just, you know, you got the Indian princess child, and she's a child. She's probably 15 years old, or supposed to be.
Okay.
Somehow she's able to whack out a whole tribe of Indians, a whole bunch of like fur traders or something that are there, and the alien. Spoiler alert. And she's never been in a battle in her life. And meanwhile, all the other Indians and all these other fur trader guys that are out there killing bears and shit, they're all getting killed by the alien. So, it just seems so dumb to me. I watched it and I was like, why is everybody loving this movie? It sucks. I hated it. So I might be in the minority in it. I'm sure people will tell me that I'm an idiot for not getting it, but that would be the negative, would be PREY for me. Did not dig it.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at.
Not a ton going on this week. Clutch put out a new single, Slaughter Beach.
Right.
I mean, they could pretty much do no wrong to me. Yeah, the great band. And I mean, if you like Clutch, you're gonna like the song. I mean, there's no getting around it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what band? I actually, you know, my love of the Goodwill. We were in the Goodwill the other day, and I picked up a couple of CDs, which I don't normally do, but you know, got a CD player in the Jeep, so every once in a while I'll throw a CD in. I bought the Creedence Clearwater, Chronicle, I think it is, like the 20 greatest hits back in the day.
Yeah,
that band holds up, man. What a great band!
Yeah, they were fantastic, dude. Yeah. Fortunate Son is one of my like all timers. Yeah. I love that tune, and I love every cover of it is good too.
Yeah, Clutch. Speaking of Clutch did a great cover of Fortunate Son, man.
Yeah.
But yes, I almost took a photo of it because I bought two CDs. I bought Creedence Clearwater Revival and I bought Punk Goes Pop, like the first, like the hardcore bands doing pop songs. I was like, this is what goes on in my brain.
Nice.
The other positive of the week, and I don't really care for him, but he did a great podcast this week, and his Dean Del Rey interviewed Gene Simmons, and I was pretty well blown away. I mean, he asks kind of some of the questions I probably wouldn't have asked, like how do you make the blood mixture and, how hard is it to put the makeup on? But he got good answers out of them.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to really, Gene Simmons went over to Dean Del Rey's house and talked to him for an hour and a half,
Nice.
about like the 70s and put the band together. And, so I was thoroughly impressed, and Gene cussed a little bit. I don't know Gene as much of a cusser.
No, not really.
But he kind of opened up a little bit. So seemed like a pretty authentic interview, I think.
Geez, and every single podcaster that we know was jizzing themselves over it too, right?
Right. And jizzing and also just hating the whole time. Like,
yeah. How come he gets them? How come he gets Gene? Why can't we get Gene?
my podcast is named after a Kiss song. Why is he not on my show?
We've done 670 episodes about Kiss.
But yeah, so check out was it Let There Be Talk? I wondered if Gene would give him crap about the the name of the show. Like, that's not a Kiss song, that's an AC/DC song.
Your show should be called Talk Gun.
Which is funny because there is a Kiss song called Talk to Me, but so
is there?
Yeah, it's on Unmasked, I think.
I would never know.
Me. But I think it's an Ace song.
All right. I would never know.
Well, cool. Well, if you're listening on podcast, stick around for my interview with Mike Haranica. If you're not subscribed over at notfest.com VIP, you can go and watch the interview if you're a subscriber. And if you're not either of those, for the Talk to Me podcast, I am Joshua Toomey.
I am Chris Akin.
And we will talk to you guys next week.
See ya.